Morning everybody. We've got another week with 2 more art activities, and the first art activity that we're going to look at is using the skill of weaving to make some nice designs for ourselves. To start off and make for ourselves is a kind of a card loom. A loom is the name of something, a device that's used in weaving, and we're going to use a bit of card. This is an old bit of card from the back of a book, a good size for us to see what we're doing. And it's very easy to turn it into a loom. We're going to make some little cuts down here along the bottom, and I'm going to make them sort of 0.8 centimeters approximately. You can measure it out if you feel a bit insecure about it, but I'm just going to try and guess, make it as careful as I can to go along the bottom here. That's one set of little teeth on my loom. Turn around the opposite side again and I do the same thing. 0.8, maybe a centimetre, that's easier to judge for you. Not too big and not too small. I've chosen for myself some of this thread because it's very strong, it's quite thick, and it'll do the job really well. So I take my little card loom and I'm going to put the end of my thread, hold it with my thumb here like this to start off, and put it into the first tooth like that. And I go to my roll of sellotape just over here, and I'll need a piece of sellotape just to hold that on. The tail end here is going to be stuck down with the sellotape just to hold it firmly in place. I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to put it through the first tooth at the bottom there, up again, through the next one, and I'm just winding it round and round. Now the side that you see, this is the front side of the weaving. The other side of the weaving is the bit with the sellotape. That's not going to be seen on our weaving. So if I weave round very carefully, try to get the tension quite good, quite tight but not too tight, and definitely not too loose or it makes it very difficult for you. So round the teeth at the bottom and the top, and I've run out of my blue thread. Weaving. Fortunately for me, it happened on the wrong side, not on the right side. And away we go again. Turn you to the right side here, up the top, through the tooth, bottom. Keep going round and round. Keep it a good. Remember to keep it a good tension. And that will do. I'm going to try and arrange it like this. So these threads are called the warp threads in weaving. These are the tension threads, and then my weft threads are the ones that are going to go the other way, and I'm going to do that right now. So in order to show you, I'm just going to put my weaving up on this board. Okay, so I'm going to restrict myself a little bit to start off with. I'm going to only use reds and oranges. And I've collected some orange ribbon, orange strip of paper, red strip of paper, a bit of red kind of material that I've cut off something, some red from a crisp pack, and this is the little orange bag that you get with oranges in the supermarket. I saved that as well. I've got some other things there which I'll save for the moment. So I'll start off easy. Let's start off with a bit of paper, orange paper like this. And I start with my first thread. I go under, over, whoopsie, under, over, under, over, right to the very end. 1 over, 1 under. I hope you can see that. And then I push it right up to the limit, like this here. Next one, let's have a red strip of paper like this. Now this is where it gets slightly tricky. If you weave your weaving properly, it'll stay firm and secure. If you do it incorrectly, it'll basically fall apart, okay? So this first thread, I went under the first time, so now I'm going to go over. I'm going to go under, over, under, Now when you're doing yours, you'll understand what I mean. It can be a little bit fiddly and you have to keep track of where you went over and under. So when I get to the end, you can see the overs here and the unders here. And it makes a kind of a pattern, like bricks on a wall or something like that. Let's try the little bit of material. So this one, I went over the first thread, so this time I go under. So if you get that right, then if you're paying attention, then you should be able to get it done correctly. Like this here, okay? Quite like some of the little bits that hang off at the end. We'll worry about those later on. Let's try some of this orange satiny ribbon. So this first string was under, so this one's over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, under. Can you see that? Put it straight up here. You can see it's got different thicknesses and different textures to it as well. Let's try, should we try this piece of plastic? So this one was over, so the first one on this side, or this line, is under, under, under. Bit here. I'm going to try and do the whole thing, so we get an extra thick bit here. So this one was under, so we go over this time. So it's under this one, under, under. Can you see what I'm doing? Under, under, and under. Pull it through, and you've got a really nice texture there going on. Looks pretty nice. Quite like that. Now you could fill that up with just oranges and reds, bits of paper that you found. I'm going to try something a bit different just to show you. I found this little bit of sparkly, sequiny stuff. So I don't want to waste it, so I'm just going to measure that one. Cut a little bit off. And this one was over, so we're starting off with under. Actually doing it on this vertical surface is actually easier than I thought. I think I'm doing it easier than I did when it was on my knee. So whatever suits you. I mean, if you do it on the table, that's fine. And I'm finding this surprisingly easy, so quite like the way that's working out. Can you see these sparkly bits there? Very nice. I think some people will go for that big time. Got something really ordinary here. This is a bit of cling film, and I've just twisted it to make it into a strip. So that was over, so this one is under, over, under, over, under. Maybe I should have put one in up here somewhere. You can try that again the next time you do it. You might want to go and do something completely different. These threads are blue, so you could go and do a few lines in blue if you wanted to as well. I think I'll just finish this actually, so I have a finished one to show you. Okay, I've managed to fill up my little card loom with all the warp and weft threads, and it's turned out a bit like a little sunset with the sea, the cool sea, and the sand. How to take it off the card. If you want to be sure that it looks like this, you can keep it on the card. It's only a piece of card. But I'll just show you how we take the little warp threads off. So I will have to take this off for the moment. And I turn it to the back here. And the first thing I do is take off my sellotape. One. And down here. That. I'm also going to leave these loose edges. I might trim some of that. One's a bit too heavy, isn't it? And this one here. So I might trim that in a moment. Turn to the back. I'm going to try and do this again vertically so you can see it, but it is actually easier to do on the flat surface because we're going to tie some knots. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut along the middle of these strings here at the back. So cut along like this. Now very carefully I'm going to take them off the loom. You can do it one or two at a time. Don't pull on the front of it. Just pull the strings off one at a time. Turn round and you've got your strips here. This is where it gets tricky because they easily fall off. So I'm going to take the first two strings here and the second two strings here, and I'm going to very carefully tie them together. Oops. Just in a plain knot, it's not a fancy knot of any kind. Let me just try and put this on more carefully. Okay, then I go to the next two. So I've got, that shouldn't be there, should it? So I've got two here, and I'll do one, and then I've got three left for there. So I'm going to tie these in a knot as well, just a plain knot. You have to be very gentle and try not to move your weaving hardly at all. Another knot. Just use your judgment. Okay. Now next one, I turn this round. And very carefully I'm going to take this off the card as well, one at a time. Done there. Just pop this on here. So I've lost a string there, accidentally pulled that off. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to tie these first four together because then you have better control over it and gravity isn't always pulling it down. So let's see what we've got here. Our sunset is kind of falling apart a little bit, but it's quite effective. It's got nice colours. You can trim these if you want to, or you can leave it like that. Maybe if I was doing this again, I would get something a bit more rigid for the first row. Maybe like I could paint a stick, or I could get a bit of orange card, or card I could colour it in orange with the pens. And that would give it a bit more support at the top there. Let's pop that up there. And I'm sure you'll be able to do yours much neater, much carefully than mine. But that's the basic technique. As I said, you can keep it on the card. And you can try all sorts of things. You can look around your house to see how many unusual things you can get to weave with. Myself to shades of blue, maybe some white and some odd bit of purple. So it looks quite effective. I think I'll keep it on the card because the card gives it a bit of strength. I thought to myself, well, let's just try wool. So this is the one with just shades of wool. It's okay, but it's not really as interesting as having the different textures and odd bits and pieces that you don't expect to be in a weaving. That's quite nice. And then this one, I decided to limit myself with sticks, things from the garden, more natural like this here. So you can use absolutely anything to weave with, and the more unusual it is, the better. You can go really small like this, or if you're feeling very, very adventurous, you could try and do something really quite big. If you can find a large bit of card that you could use, you could have a go with that and see what you can come up with. Please, if you make some weavings, send me some photographs, and then I can put it on the Artemis Art Zip website and you can see your work published online. So thank you for today and for listening again, and I hope you have a lovely time having a go with that this week. Bye!